Tomorrow, on July 14th, we will celebrate in the United States of America the implementation of ISO 2000022 is currently taking place. They are all transitioning to this new message standard, including the FedWire and the FedNow services. The implications of this for XRP and Ripple are going to be discussed. Also, Ripple has recently submitted an application to become a bank. In the event that they are, in fact, a bank operating inside the FedNow environment, what will become of Ripple as a result of this? In addition, there is the Federal Reserve's current payment system. Due to Ripple's decision to become a bank, would it be simple for financial institutions and infrastructures to adopt XRP? In this video, I want to provide answers to all of those questions as well as a great deal more. Let's get down to business. Therefore, the Fed Today service today includes more than 1,400 partners, with headquarters located in each of the 50 states. You can really look at the complete list that they have here if you are interested. It is possible for me to get this up for you and demonstrate what it appears to be. Let's just go ahead and have a look at what is actually taking place here on July 14th while it is actually happening. A single D implementation method will be utilized by FRFS in order to adopt the ISO 2000022 message format for the wire fund service provided by the Federal Reserve on July 14, 2025. In this implementation, we will replace all FIM messages with ISO 20022 messages and put an end to the use of the proprietary FedWire application interface manual format that is now in use. It is now established as of the 18th of June that the event will in fact take place on the 14th of July. Because of this, it was postponed before the 14th of July, which is obviously going to be the day. The completion of your preparedness and contingency plans as soon as feasible is something that we strongly urge you do as part of your overall readiness and preparations for the approaching migration. Having a contingency plan in place is very necessary in the event that you are not prepared to transmit or receive ISO 20022 messages through the FedWire Fund service, or if your wire environment is not prepared to handle ISO 20022 messages. In other words, the federal government of the United States is basically informing banks and other financial institutions that this is going to take place on July 14th. All of us are transitioning to this new norm. Right now, you need to make plans that are in accordance with this new standard if you are not already on it. I believe that the majority of these large institutions have already completed the transition. Nevertheless, there are going to be a great number of smaller to medium-sized banks or credit unions that might not have a strategy in place during this time. Consequently, it is going to be fascinating to observe the total influence that this is going to have on it. In addition, I will without a doubt provide you with all of that information. Consequently, this will provide you with a helpful list in this regard. Due to the fact that I have a great deal of other material that I want to present you, I do not wish to spend an excessive amount of time on this. Regarding the ISO migration that will take place on July 14th for FedWire, I would want to know what the implications are. We are aware of the ISO changeover that will take place on July 14, 2025 for FedWire. This indicates that the Federal Reserve's FedWire Fund service will transition from its existing proprietary message format to the ISO 20022 communication standard for all wire transfers. Beginning on July 14th, the ISO 20022 format will be required for all wire messages that are transmitted by FedWire. An international standard known as ISO 20022 is now being utilized by many payment systems throughout the world. The implementation of this technology is intended to better the quality of data, increase the amount of processing that occurs directly via the system, and allow additional services such as improved remittance information and payment tracking. The topic of message fields is discussed. I think it's safe to say that we don't really need to get into that. Institutions are obligated to guarantee preparedness. The update of software, the training of staff, the validation of correspondent banking arrangements, and the preparation of contingency plans in the event that migration concerns arise also fall under this category. Testing and verification are scheduled to take place on July 11th in order to guarantee a seamless changeover. Both the FedWire Fund service and the FedNow service will be affected by this relocation. The Fed Wire Securities Service and the Fed Advisory Committee are not impacted by this. Establishments will be unable to transmit or receive wire transfers if they do not comply with the regulations. So this is a really significant event. It does talk about enhanced interoperability with ISO 2000022 provides a universal messaging standard regulatory alignment, getting the world on the same standard potential for broader adoption, and then average daily funds messaging is about 850,860. The 000 messages per day, and it talks about annual volume 29,916,835 transfers daily annually. Simply said, I wanted to get a sense of the amount of value that we are discussing. Then is FedNow going to take the place of FedWire? Federal Wire will not be replaced by FedNow. Each of the two systems will continue to function in parallel, each serving a separate set of requirements inside the United States payment system. The two systems serve different functions. After that, I simply wanted to clearly acquire some further information regarding the amount of money that we are discussing here, which may be contained in these new ISO messages. Right now the FedNow system processes around 540 million transactions every single day. Therefore, if you were to go to this ISO format, you would be able to employ crypto such as XRP or other tokens that are compliant with ISO in order to carry out some kind of quick settlement and have it settle in instantly. Do you realize that the Federal Reserve handles around $4.65 trillion every day? As a result, you can generally see that the amount of money in May 2025 has increased from 4.52 trillion to 4.65 trillion from the previous year, April 2024. As a result, you can see that an increasing amount of value is being handled each day. The question that I wanted to investigate was whether or not the fact that Ripple is becoming a bank will have an effect on the Federal Reserve's DAO or Federal Reserve Wire. Because of this, Ripple would be able to have direct access to the FedNow instant payment system of the Federal Reserve if it were to become a national bank of the United States and obtain a master account with the Federal Reserve. With this, a number of substantial benefits would be forthcoming. In addition, I am aware of what you are going to say, since you are aware that Ripple and XRP are already able to be utilized within the system as a result of previous relationships. I couldn't agree with you more, and you are exactly correct. Ripple would be able to become one of those institutions as a result of this. Additionally, at this same moment, Ripple is tied to an organization that is a component of FedNow. Ripple would soon be included in the Federal Reserve just like those other organizations are. That in fact is the difference between the two. Ripple has the ability to provide its consumers with immediate payment services, allowing them to settle transactions in a matter of seconds 365 days a year, without the need to rely on intermediate institutions. Is it correct that they are partners? Ripple is capable of doing this on their own. I'm sure you're aware that if you work for a financial institution, you probably think that Ripple's technology is really incredible. Our goal is to take it on. Now Ripple is attempting to become your rival in the cryptocurrency market. I am curious about the consequences of it. In addition, I have been considering the following. If Ripple were to provide account services to normal people like you and me, would you switch from the bank that you are currently using to the bank that Ripple offers your services? It is my opinion that I would at the very least establish an account there, put some money in it and test out the various services that they provide. That seems like it would be a very fantastic idea. Alright,